Hello there, my crafty friends. It's Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stamped AF. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. This week, I am using two floral bundles. I almost said bouquets. Both of these are in the mini catalog. Can you believe it? I have naked nails. I was going to repaint them, and I'm like, nah, I'm just going to leave them for today. Squirrel. These are both in the mini catalog, and one of them, spoiler alert, is carrying forward and one is not. And I thought, you know what? Just got this one, haven't used it. Used this one to make some team cards recently, but I mean, really have not used it to its fullest. So I thought I was going to combine them and create this very monochromatic mixed neutrals card. I'm going to recreate this. Don't know that I'll create it exactly the way that I did, but I'm loving the gold and gray together. So the one difference is I am going to use a different DSP. I used this one and I haven't even used it. To be honest, the only reason I have it is because I took part in my own DSP share. Speaking of which, the new catalog goes live in like another week. And I am offering product shares. So if you would like DSP, if you would like ribbon, if you would like embellishments, if you would like all three, I have options for that. So if you're in Canada and interested in getting a sampling of everything, please send me a message, comment below. I will try to remember to put the link to sign up in the description below. But yes, that's why I have this Symbols of Fortune DSP, is because it was part of my share. So on this card, I know you probably can't tell, which is why I'm not all that worried about changing it up. I'm going to use this one that kind of reminds me of like a concrete with gold in it. For the first one, I used this. So not a huge difference, but I hadn't used this DSP at all. And the catalog's coming to an end soon. So I thought that would be a great way to mix in some neutrals as well. So let's get our craft on. That was kind of a long intro. So I have, you probably can't even see it, but I've got some gold foil. I've got some, I think this is champagne. To be honest, I don't even know if this is still current, but I had it in my stash and it was a little too busy. I'm sorry, the sun is like wreaking havoc here. It's that time of day. And that being said, my apologies for this being late. I've been working on retreat prep and craft and connect prep, and time kind of got away from me, but I'm doing really well on it. So this is champagne, and then it's got some of the vellum layering designs in behind it. So it's got this one that has the text, just because it was pretty busy. So you know what? Instead of me explaining every bit and piece, let's just get going. I have got a basic gray card base here, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I have 2 pieces of smoky slate. Smoky slate, gray granite would work too. It's kind of a nice grayish, a browny kind of gray. It could be that, I don't know. And what we are going to do is with the Time Worn Type embossing folder, we are going to emboss one of these. They're both exactly the same size. So I'm going to emboss this, ink it up a little bit. You can decide before you put it through what part of the embossing folder you want. So just kind of audition it and see, like maybe you want this really big portion in there. Maybe you don't want it at all. I think I do. So just line it up and see where you want it to be. I'm going to take my basic gray stamp pad and just kind of ink it up. I do like to have a piece of grid paper there just to protect my work surface. I have a glass board, so I mean it's not going to stain it, but it's just one more thing to clean up. So just kind of go over it as light or as dark as you want. The other thing you could do is ink up your embossing folder before you emboss it, if you're not quite comfortable with this scary technique. Look at that. It's not going to be obvious. Don't worry. See, this is why I said. Now I'm going to leave my basic gray out. I'm also going to get some smoky slate, and we will stamp some of the dahlias on our other piece of smoky slate. I love the detail in this one. I love this. I've struggled to use it because without doing like a marker to stamp technique, it ends up all one color, and I just haven't had the need for it yet, but only used it once. Okay, so we are going to use this background for the background. If you can see that. I know there's a lot going on this card, but that is what I did the first time. So you can put an adhesive sheet on the back of this if you don't want to have to worry about adhering it down. I'm not going to. Now I will actually stamp that flower. I got distracted because I saw the die on the top. Okay, so we'll start with Smoky Slate. Just give it a little tap, tap, taparoo. And there we go. This will lighten as it dries. Not going to clean it off because we're going into a darker color. Hashtag lazy girl stamping. Now the beauty of this bundle is that there are 2 dies. We can die cut both these at the same time. And the trickiest part of these is lining them up. I don't want them moving. So I find the easiest thing, and it's not always foolproof, but find where these 3 leaves are, and then the rest will be easier. I tried marking one of my dies, and it just didn't stay put. And I don't always stamp the same way, so just keep turning until you get it right. And make sure you check the whole thing, because there are times where, like this, it's lined up, but this side is not. So it's a bit of a stinker. There we go. Nope, look, it's right on top, not on the bottom. There we go. See if you don't have it right in the right spot. And because I'm die cutting 2, I'm going to tape them down. I am going to take my Ranunculus, and if you've never seen Ranunculus, they are beautiful. So this die doesn't actually cut out the border. This will cut out all the little pieces, but you need to line this one up to get your border. So there's a lot of lining up with these 2 bundles. Anyways, I'm going to get that one down, and also going to die cut my single one. And then with the scrap of gold, I'm going to do a couple of foliage pieces from that Ranunculus bundle. Ranunculus. Okay, so those ones, and I don't think I ended up using that one. I just ended up cutting this one, so we'll just do that. Move all of this out of the way, and this set is gorgeous if you like shabby chic. Like, you've got the writing there, just so many things. You've got the postage. Now, I'm going to run this through one more time, but with my solid outline on there. So I know there's a lot of die cutting on this card, but it's kind of a special card. I can't see making a whole assembly line of them. And again, you're going to look for a pattern. So I found that this little pattern there was easiest to kind of landmark. You want to make sure you have an even distance around on all the sides. You don't want to have more of a border on one side than another, right? There we go. I'm just going to wrap this one around because it's got nothing to cling to. Okay, so once this little piece comes out, we are okay to attach this. And again, I would recommend looking for this little piece and then adhering it. We're not going to go crazy adding adhesive to this. Now, one thing I did find was you can't really see this. So the whole point of that vellum was to kind of make this stand out a little bit, and mission failed, right? You can't really see it. Well, if you take your dark smoky slate blend, turn the vellum over. If you do it on the front, it's going to get rid of all of those words. Ask me how I know. And just color on the back. If you want some darker spots, go ahead and do that. Like I said, you're not going to see much of this, but by having that little bit of smoky slate, it will help it to stand out just a little bit. So what we can do now is just add a little bit of adhesive here. And here comes the foliage. So I highly recommend dry fitting all of your pieces before you start cutting or adhering. Make sure that you like how it looks before you commit. So this is going to come down here. With this, I am going to cut right about here and make it look like it was always just supposed to be that one piece, like cut off the little tails. We'll have that like that. We've got our 2 flowers here. I'm going to pop those up. Clean that up after. Okay, so we'll put a couple of dimensionals on here. Usually I would add more, but I feel like this video is already longer than it needed to be. Okay, so I am putting the lighter one at the bottom. I'm going to move these pieces out now. Add a little bit of glue to the top and bottom of this, maybe a little bit on some of the leaves just to keep them down a little bit. There we go. I want it to stay on my card base because I want the envelope to close when all is said and done. Add our basic gray flower. If you recreate this, I would love to see it, whether it looks like this or not. Like if you chose to go with a monochromatic look, great. If not, I'd love to see other colorways. You can share it in my Facebook group. You can tag me on Instagram, StampedAF on either. Just tuck that in. And I did do a little gray granite baker's twine bow here, but it gets so lost because there's just so much going on already. I really don't even think I need that. So I'm going to take it off. It kind of just hides that gold leaf. So let's take that off. Need a couple little embellishments. So you can see the 2 here, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can use however many. So these are the gold versions of the genial gems. I want 1 in the middle of each of the dahlias. And it's funny because I love both of these flowers in real life. Like dahlias, beautiful. Never been able to grow them myself. These are entirely optional because it is pretty difficult to see these. But I wanted just a little pop of gold. Like I don't have enough already. But anyways, dahlias, ranunculus. I've never been able to grow ranunculus, but oh boy, are they ever beautiful. Put that one in the middle there. I think that's good. On the inside, I'm going to skip it. Might as well show you, right? And we got around to cutting some extra card bases and mats. So I'm going to have to cut one to show you. Okay, we're done with the dimensionals. So on the inside, you are beyond incredible. And that is from the Dahlia days. Love that sentiment. So we'll do that in basic gray. And I was trying to find a color that looked like gold, and I don't feel like I found it. I used Bumblebee. When I first started with Stampin' Up, I always used soft suede if I was looking for an ink color that looked like gold, but I don't know, it just wasn't stamping right. So let's try crushed curry. I think I did try this and it looked terrible, but I'm going to just use this little flower here. Stamp it on my grid paper. Look at that. I have issues with my crushed curry. It is an ink pad that for me just does not hold its ink, which is why I think I used Bumblebee in the first place. There we go. Once you know that it's dry, you can spend a little more time on it, but clean all this stuff up after. So again, if you make this, I would love to see it. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this card. I tend to, lately, I've been sticking to kind of one bundle because I know I can't expect that everyone's going to have all the bundles that I have, but I do love mixing bundles. I find that there's so many possibilities, and chances are they are going to be unique because people aren't going to think about combining the same product that you've combined. So look at what you have, look at how you can combine them, and happy crafting, everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.